Hello again. Glad to see that many of you have come back to the second version of our series of chapters. This version has Discovering the Meaning of Your Life. My opening question to you is, how many of you already know the meaning of your life? No, you don't know the meaning of your life. Okay. The only thing I can tell you, there's a lot of people making millions of dollars in this world who they write books and they say, I can tell you what the meaning of your life is. You were born with it. You might not know it yet, but you were born with the meaning of your life. I said, I always find that interesting because I didn't know anything when I started. And it took me all my life, 30 or 40 years, even to realize how little I used to know and how much I had to change what I thought I know. So this is a piece on knowing the meaning of your life and working to review it. This is a period of reflection. And I'd just like to give you the more details on it. And it goes this way. In the pursuit of what we term our personal meaning, it is essential that we understand that while meaning is often thought to be something dynamic that we explicitly demonstrate outside ourselves, in fact, meaning always begins inside ourselves as our fundamental worldview of appropriate beliefs, values, motives, and preferred actions before we reveal them to others. So today, once again, I'll remind you that we always go back to what does it mean to you and how you manage your life? And secondly, how are we evolving this whole experience so that you can get something real, holistic, comprehensive, and integral to get your mind around that you could actually put to work in your daily experiences. Okay, so what is the meaning of your life? And you can be a child, you can be in school, you can be an older gentleman, but people think about it a lot. And I have to tell you, regardless of your age, a lot of people, when they get to be about 50 and life is changing significantly for them, they still want to figure out what their life is about. So particularly if you happen to be a senior person, 50, 55, 60, this applies to you because what your meaning in life is may have changed from when you first started this life. Everybody seems to know something about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So I'm going to put that up. I'm going to assume that most everybody here has seen this before in some form of some educational program. Very basically, what it says is that we have a range of needs from the physiological, which is just to survive, up through safety, up through love and belonging, for self-esteem, for self-actualization. So later in his life, Maslow said there was a later period of self-transcendence or meaningfulness, which is the highest level of, let's say, wisdom. That there was a place where you had met most of these needs most of the time, that you actually got to a point where, let's just call it self-fulfillment. You get to a point where you understand that you've done the best you can with what you had, and that is good enough. And if that's good enough, people should say, I'm happy, I can be happy, I can take the stress off myself now that I've learned how to do that. Again, going for what we are doing, look at this one here, we've talked about this before. In our last session, we had the same idea that these reasoning competencies, that these social systems would drive us to high fulfillment, high performance, self-fulfillment, common good, and human enlightenment. That is nothing different than what Maslow taught us 30 or 40 years ago. And so what I'm here to say is, you've got to use some of the old that was good stuff, you got to use some of the new that's good stuff, you got to blend it together. Just because someone is older or something, an idea was once thought popular and it's not popular now simply because it's just not happening, does not mean it wasn't a good idea. And our programs are always built on going all the way back, finding good things, and then adding new things to the good things to have a holistic program. Now, what I'm going to take you through are 4 slides very quickly. In the 4 domains, the 4 social system domains, there are the personal system, and then there's the organizational, the community, and the societal. And every one of them is affected by the same 5 reasoning competencies. So when we think about where we're going and what we can get from this experience and where our meaning has to be demonstrated, it's in these 4 areas. So if we say that for our personal life, we need to be healthy as we can be. We need to build the ability to successfully work and produce in life. And we have to have the kind of character that we can work with other people and that there's a good teaming possibility between yourself and others. When we go on to the organizational, you have the organization. Organizations are well run when they have a strategy and direction, when they have efficient operations, and they have good performance in whether they meet the customers' and clients' needs and whether they generate the revenue necessary to support themselves. If you go forward into community, community has to do with your educational system, where most counties and most states spend about 70% of their budget on education. You also have businesses that are actively involved in working on things that affect the community. And you have government itself, who has to actually maintain the process, the relationships, the law, the security, the safety in the community. So there are people who always work as nonprofits or as government people. They don't even get involved in the educational arena or the business arena, but they have very good jobs and they make a difference, or they should be making a difference. And lastly, society, we can go back to the personal, organization, and community and simply say that when the other 3 work well, you should have a society that reaches out to the rest of the world and says, basically, look like us. Try to do what we're doing because we've done it for a long time and it makes a difference. The challenge is for each of us to even engage in the community area, because our personal lives become so dominant. Right after that is our organization life, and you got a battle going on here between working and play and life and so forth and all those responsibilities. Who has time for community? You just pay your taxes and hope that they're doing their job too. And that's the challenge for people. But in the end, it comes back to you, because you as an individual, just like I as an individual, have the responsibility to say, I still want to get my self-fulfillment. How do I do it? If it's not fellowship, what is the word that's right for me? In the organization, if I work in the school system, I'm automatically in there. I can see where I am, but I may not necessarily be there. I may be building roads, and I don't know that that's all that important. So I have to, and I have created, Rudy Garrity, self-fulfillment, high performance, the common good, and human enlightenment as my motivators. I admit, though, that even though I know what the behaviors look like, I don't know exactly what the replacement word is, the adjective, the verb that really describes something more focused that I can do. But I will bring this back to you every chapter to see if you have anything different to say. And lastly, like we always do, we ask you, how could you use this in your personal life? See you next time.